Hey guys, welcome to the 10th video in this Flame game development series where we are making Ski Master, a top-down vertical scroller about skiing. In the previous video, we implemented the score calculation and a basic HUD to display the score on the screen. We also added some simple effects to the HUD elements to make them animate when the score is updated. But right now, the score does not really have any real significance when it comes to level progression. You can see that when the level is completed, it does not reflect the results of the level. And that brings us to the topic of this video. In this video, we are going to add a classic 3-star system to the game. Basically, the player will be given X stars out of 3 stars based on the number of snowmen that they manage to collect in the level. So first, let's make changes to the level complete widget to display the stars. I'll keep it simple by adding a row widget below the title widget. This row will contain 3 icon widgets that display the star icon. You can play around with the color, size and other properties to customize how the stars look. Next, to store the number of stars to be shown to the player, I'll add a final integer in this class called n stars. Ideally, we'll get this value as input to the widget, but for quick testing, I'll initialize this with a value of 2. Now in the build method, I'll check the value of n stars to decide how many stars out of the 3 stars should be filled. So for example, for the first star, if n stars is greater than or equal to 1, I'll use the normal star icon. Otherwise, I'll use the star border icon. The same logic can be extended for color as well. And similarly, the second and third icon widgets will compare n stars with 2 and 3 respectively. With this, we now have the ability to control the number of filled stars on this widget. So next, let's remove the hard-coded value for n stars and instead add it as a required parameter to the constructor. Now due to this change, we'll start getting an error in the routes map defined in the game.dart file. Since the number of stars to be shown in the level complete widget is dynamic, we can't really set any particular value for it here. In a way, the level complete route now needs to be handled similar to how the gameplay route is handled. It needs a dynamic input for its creation. But instead of following the same approach as gameplay route, I'll show an alternate approach. First, let's remove the entry for level complete from this map. Next, if you check the constructor of router component, you'll find a map input called route factories. This essentially allows us to register a factory callback for required route type. Using this callback, we can spawn a new route. And the best part is, it allows us to forward a string parameter to the callback, which can be used while creating the route. So let's create another late final member in this class called route factories. This will be a map of string versus a function that returns a route taking a string as input argument. In this map, I'll add an entry for the level complete ID with a callback that returns the level complete widget as an overlay route, just like it did earlier. The only difference is, this time we get an input string argument to the callback. In our case, we'll be sending the number of stars as string input here. So I'll just use int.parse to convert it back to an integer and set it as the n stars parameter of level complete. And finally, I'll set the map as the route factories in the router component. Okay, now to actually make this work, we'll have to modify a few more things. If you remember, show level complete menu is the method that is responsible for navigating to the level complete route. To control the number of stars to be displayed, I'll add an integer input to this method. And to pass this number as input to the route factory that we created earlier, we'll have to append it to the route ID using a forward slash. So basically, the string part before the slash is used as the route ID, and anything after the first slash is passed as the input argument to the factory callback. Next, since this method is used as the onLevel completed callback of gameplay class, we'll have to convert that callback into a value changed callback of type int. This means we can now send in the number of stars as input to this callback. So for example, in the key callbacks of input component, I can call onLevel completed with an input as 3 to indicate that level completed screen should show 3 stars. Now this code is just an example. Most probably in future I'll remove the level completed and game over key callbacks from this map because they were originally added just for testing. But the actual call to on level completed that is made from the on trail end method that can now control how many stars to show at the end. For quick testing, let's change this to display 1 star and start the game. And as you can see, after completing the level, we do get 1 star. Okay, so now that we can control the number of stars on the level complete screen, let's see how to decide the star count based on the number of snowmen collected in a level. Since total number of snowmen will be different for different levels, it makes sense to store this mapping along with the level files. And similar to the object properties in object layer, Tiled also supports map specific properties. You can access them from the map properties located under the map tab. In here, I'll add 3 custom properties of type int called star1, star2 and star3. Values of these properties will represent the number of snowmen required to achieve that star count. So for example, since my level 1 map only has 4 snowman objects, I'll set star1 to 2, star2 to 3 and star3 to 4. This means collecting all 4 snowmen will give the player 3 stars. Collecting 3 snowmen will give 2 stars. Collecting 2 snowmen will give them only 1 star, and anything less than 2 will be considered as 0 stars. Now let's export this map and go back to the code. Here, I'll first add 3 late integers to store the required snowman count for the 3 stars for current level. Then next, in the onload method, after the map has been loaded, we can access the values of custom properties using map.tilemap.map.properties.getValue. Since we know that the values of these properties are going to be integers, I'll set the generic parameter to getValue as int. And since all level must have these properties, we can cast the returned value from nullable int to int. Once we have all these values, we can go back to the onTrailEnd method and compare the value of n snowmen collected with the 3 star counts to decide the star count while calling onLevel completed. Okay, now let's run this and see if it works. So in the first run, I'll just collect 3 snowmen. And as you can see, I did get 2 stars for that. Now let's retry and try to collect all of them. And yes, you can see that now I got 3 stars. I'll retry one more time and this time I'll avoid collecting any of the snowmen. And yes, this shows the correct result as well. But you can notice that even with 0 stars, we can still go to the next level. So to fix that, I'll go to the level complete widget and will set the on pressed callback of next button to null if end stars is 0. And with that, you can see the next button gets disabled in the game. Now you can follow the same steps to add the star count in other levels as well. Just make sure that you take the branching paths into consideration while doing that. Because the total number of snowmen in the map can be one thing, but depending on which path the player takes, the number of max snowmen that they can collect can be a very different number. But yeah, that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you did, do hit that like button, consider subscribing to show your support, and I'll see you in the next one.